What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches, back with another video. Today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I do marble ombres using nude colors. A lot of times nude colors are hard for people to marble just by itself, let alone adding an ombre into it because the colors can get muddled. And I'm going to teach you how to avoid that as well as how to choose your colors, okay? So first things first, you guys, I apologize, but YouTube, I cannot find any emails basically from YouTube, let alone talking about subscribers. So I unfortunately do not have another subscriber for you. Okay, I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I have to get back to work. I've been trying to do this voiceover since I don't even know how early this morning. We're gonna have to ignore the noise. I apologize. Okay, so anyways, my client came in. She wanted a nude French tip, but she decided on this marble. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. Stop! Be quiet! Find somewhere to get. Y'all, I apologize. So these are the colors we're using. These three: chocolate, thunder, soft peach, velvet teddy for the marbling. And I'm using nude panther for the actual ombre portion. Young nails for core clear. Y'all, I'm sorry. I worked damn near till midnight last night and I got to do all over again today. So I'm just, look, I don't have no time for playing games. Okay. So, okay. The thing about doing a marble, right? It's basically two or more colors mixed together, so that you can see, oh Lord, it's two or more colors mixed together, so that way you can go ahead and see all the colors marbling through, you know, like I guess you could see like a piece of marble. However, when it comes to nudes, you have to really make sure that you're choosing colors that are similar enough that they go together, but also different enough that you will be able to see each individual color stand out. So the way that I go ahead and do it is, instead of grabbing multiple colors together, like some people will dip their brush in multiple beads and then mix them, I individually place and decide where I want things to be, because I do want the colors to organically mix, but I don't want them to muddle. You see what I'm saying? So basically, I'm grabbing one of those lighter nudes, okay, and then I'm gonna marble it with the chocolate color, and then pretty much do that in different sections of the nails. And because it's wet, they're all gonna mix how they need to, okay. And then we're gonna make sure that not the base, Lord, y'all see what I'm doing. Look, okay. All right, you guys, I'm back. It's 5:30 p.m. A couple hours have passed. I got some food. I got a Red Bull. I had a cancellation. So now I got a little energy for you, okay? So what I was trying to say is, after you marble the tip, what you want to do is put one of those beads and blend it upwards towards the natural nail, because if you don't do that, your ombre is not going to be seamless, okay? So you really want to focus on keeping the shape. And you see right here, this is what I mean. Add a little bit of product right there on the natural nail, because you do need to blend the tip and the natural nail right there, because like I said, otherwise the ombre is not going to be seamless. And by that, what I mean is, there is going to be a point to where some of the product can get trapped between the tip and the natural nail. Well, not between, but like there might be like a little, you see how like the tip is blended, but you can still tell the tip is there. That's what I mean. You don't want product to get caught and then it causes problems. All right. So what's this say? Okay. So basically, once again, like I said, we're taking the products, we're marbling as normal. I'm just going in sections. I mean, that's what I normally do anyways, but when you're really doing like with nudes, you really want to make sure you use enough of the dark to not overtake the lighter tones, but to definitely stand out. With the lighter tones, you see me not mixing them together because it would be pointless, which is why I recommended you to have 3 different nudes to choose from, so you have something more dimensional. Of course, you can do it with 2 nudes. That's not a problem. I've done it that way, but I just feel like having the 3 mixed just looks really, really good. So here we go. Next finger. Same thing. Really, same thing. You want to make sure that everything is, like I said, kept to the shape, not too wet. And I know I'm like kind of repeating the same things over and over, but these are like the main factors you need to make sure that your nude marbling is marbled and not muddled. Okay. If the colors were muddled, right? Because I know it seems like, oh, the 2 lighter colors don't really stick out. Now, if that was really true, when you look, you would not be able to, because I feel like you can visibly see the 2 lighter shades. You can tell one is darker than the other. But if that were true, it would look way less subtle right now. Okay, so like I said, to avoid that, mix 2 colors at a time the dark in one light and the dark in another light. See how, and then I add the even lighter color there, and that mixed its own self. And so now we have this. So don't be afraid to have different areas, have, you know, more dark over here, more light over there. It's really is personal preference. And when you're looking, like I said, she did show me a picture of what she wanted, but it's not really an inspo pick, because there's no way, like with marble, you can get the same type of pattern necessarily. I personally know how to marble in multiple different types of patterns, if that makes sense. But there's no way that you can look at a picture and know exactly what technique someone else used. So that part is just to each their own. They're going to be happy as long as there's a similar type of marble. Okay. And this marble pattern, it's kind of like a swirl type marble pattern. Some patterns are more chunky, some are thinner, some look like actual marble countertops. So, you know, talk to your client and see what is their end goal, their end result. This particular client, she didn't know exactly how to explain it. And I did mention like, oh, marble ombre, because she was like, oh, you know how there's like the marbling and then there's a blend and blah, blah, blah. And when I said marble ombre, she was like, I don't think so. And then she showed me this picture and I was like, yeah, boo, marble ombre. She was like, oh, okay. So just be aware that there may be clients that don't know how to properly explain this. They may say like, oh, swirling, mixing, blending. And that's what you're asked, like, oh, do you want an ombre, like a plain ombre, or do you want one that has marble on the tips? So that's just a clue for you guys. Listen to that type of keywords so that way you can understand like, okay, where is this going? So realistically, in real time, because I did edit some stuff out, because like I said, this morning, y'all, I was up early trying to get it done. So I was trying to save myself some time. But in real time, the tips part only took about 5 to 6 minutes. It should not take too long, especially if you're not working extremely wet. Now, this part right here, the blend, the ombre, and the capping, that took an additional like 15 minutes. Okay, so total time is 20. Basically for application, 20, 25, somewhere in there. So this is where it's important to have a nude for the ombre that differs from the other ones. You can see immediately this one has a more of a slightly pinkish tint. It's less of a brown nude. And so this is going to help really seal the deal, like, oh, this really is an ombre. And this is why I say, you see how because we put that product right on the natural nail, it gives a seamless blend. And so basically we don't have to blend down too far, because number one, we want to see mostly the pattern, but number two, we've already blended upwards, so blending downwards is not going to be a problem. The only time you're going to run into a problem is if you start blending too far downwards, and then you have to worry about, is this blended, versus like keeping the blend higher up is going to ensure that like you're going to have a pretty seamless transition. Okay. And the main thing you want to realize is that you can always go back and blend more, you know? So I would say like take it a little at a time, and basically if you want it lower, pull it lower. If you don't, that's fine too. And so I do have definitely videos of like encapsulation on my channel. So this is why I'm kind of just fast forwarding it, but I do just want to make sure you guys see, like, keep the shape. That right there is going to keep you from having lumps and bumps. You can see my application is very smooth, and it's going to help you in the long run with filing. So once again, I'm going to put a small bead there. I'm going to cover the natural nail, and immediately I'm going to blend down. Now you can see you need gentle strokes for this, because I don't want to carry down too much product at all. But if you do carry down too much product, you can always kind of push a little bit of it up and then continue blending down, which I think I do on this nail. Yeah, see, you can kind of use small strokes, push it up a little bit, and then bring it back down. So you really, oops, why am I still in this? So you really have what you need as far as the blend, making sure that the cuticle area is, you know, as seamless as possible. Keep that product placed where you need it to stay. Blend down whatever you need to blend. So by this, I mean, you guys know I do all my apexes with my ombre. I do it with the color. I don't do it with clear. Number one, because I don't like how that looks. I feel like when you do the whole thing in clear, you can definitely tell. Like sometimes if you see air bubbles and stuff, I feel like it looks like, oh, you capped in clear. So this is why I do that. I feel like it just gives a much more natural and better finish. If you decide to do this and you decide to build your apex out of the color, there's nothing wrong with that, but just make sure that when it comes to the blend, you're not pulling down too much product, because then that's kind of going to ruin the whole look, you know? You want to stay consistent. So if you choose a short blend like I am, you're going to want to keep that across all 10 nails. If you have a hard time like judging and seeing, you can do all the ombre blend and then go back and cap later once everything is dry, so you can actually really see how everything is working. You know what I'm saying? So again, because I did the apex already, all I need to do is cap the bottom half. I'm just going to blend that up so there's not a lump in the middle of the nail. But yeah, we're only capping the design. I mean, yeah, for strength, but also just because I don't want to follow through my design. So that's why I did, like, you can say it's a thick layer, but like when you look to the side, they're really not thick. It's definitely a fine balance between too much and not enough, which is why I have videos on my channel about that. So check those out. So once again, you guys can see it's all about the, you know what, one of my clients, I guess she's an artist and stuff, and she was letting me know like, oh, your brush strokes are really good. I guess it's like similar to like painting. So she was asking, do I paint? So like once I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I guess that's the best way to explain it. You want gentle brush strokes. If you are very rough with your product, then that means you're pulling everything all at once, and that kind of is a major thing that will keep your ombre from looking seamless. We're not pulling the product down, we're just blending it. You know what I'm saying? So think of it like that. We're okay, like in makeup, y'all know how you blend the edges and you keep in the product where you need it to be, right? Because that's the look. You want it opaque right there, but you're blending the edges so that way there's no harsh lines. That's all it is. Think of it like that. Hopefully that'll help somebody. If you're not understanding it a different way, right? So again, I'm checking from all angles because yes, the blend matters, but I also want to make sure my nails are not thick as hell. All right. So I do want to point out, I'm not doing any shaping in this video. I felt like the application was good enough that adding shaping it's just going to make the video longer. And to be honest, this video is more about the technique of blending and marbling nudes, because that is a skill that I realized you kind of have to develop. Like, yes, a marble is a marble and an ombre is an ombre, but I'm telling you, the color choices definitely matter. It just does. I'll be honest with you. Because if you choose colors that are a little bit too close, like you could have two colors that look, the color choice is close, but the undertones are completely different. And then there could be two other colors where the color choice is the same, but the undertones are so similar that now once you blend it together and once you ombre it together, it's so subtle that it looks like you almost did nothing. And the last thing you want is to basically have wasted your time on a marble or an ombre that just damn near looks like nothing. I've definitely done it before. It's not fun. You know, the client would still be happy, but like if they were going for a more bold look and they left with a subtle look, you know, it might, they can possibly well still like it, but still think like, oh, maybe that wasn't exactly for me or not exactly what I wanted. So that's why we just keep in mind that with nudes, we want them to definitely pop. So as it's drying, you can definitely see the more pinkish undertone. And granted, depending on the skin tone, it will, you know, obviously on some people it may look a little more pink, on other people it might look a little more, I don't want to say tan or nude, but like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, don't be afraid to take your time, but also just know like you kind of have to move quickly as well, because if the product starts to set too long or harden, you're going to have a hard time blending. You see what I'm saying? So it is a fine line of moving too quick and too slow. And another thing is like when you put on the, when you cap the nail, it is pretty forgiving. Like not a lot, but it's something about this clear that kind of just, if you're unsure about your blend or your marble and something's like, ah, man, if only, cap it. Like it sounds kind of weird, like, oh, what if I don't like it? But honestly, I don't know if it just blurs stuff a little bit, but sometimes when you're like a beginner or, you know, getting a little bit better, it helps you because you're like, oh, this looks a little bit better. Like, it's a little forgiving. So for the thumb, this is a bigger area, and so don't be scared to use a little bit bigger beads. Otherwise, you're going to be there all day and all night, and you don't want to. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to. So the thumb was pretty easy, just like I said, because once you blend up, blending down is a breeze. Because basically, with this marble ombre, we want to be able to see the pattern mostly, so we're really just blending down into the plain color we blended up. And then of course I'm building the apex, making sure everything is right, and boom, that's about it. Now, the main thing you're going to want to think about, just like with any ombre, is how opaque and where do you want the opacity, and how translucent is too translucent, because you don't want it to be to the point where like, okay, it just goes from really, really pigmented to almost nothing. That's not what we want, right? So we're going to practice our ombres and our marbles. I have other videos and tutorials on marble ombres. I just really thought this one was a good one because it was, you know, obviously nude. Nudes are hard to work with in the sense of doing some of these types of designs. So hopefully it helps somebody that has been either wanting to try this or maybe struggling with this, because that's okay too. Because like I said, I've definitely been in some instances where I realized, you know what, this is not looking very marble like, or you know what, these nudes were very too close to be ombreing. And that's why people are like, why do you have so many nudes? Why do you have to? Because undertone matters. I'll tell you that right now. All these nudes can look the same right next to each other, but once they get on the skin, they do not. Okay, so this is them after they're shaped, filed, all of that stuff. And of course, I'm about to show you guys the finished result. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize for not posting last night, but y'all, I didn't get home till midnight from work. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video.